Welcome back. I'm Steve Johnson. I'm your host during this series of The Future of Finance, coming to you from the U.S. Bank Lounge at Money 2020 in Las Vegas. This time in the series, we're talking about Beyond the Swipe global merchants and what they're teaching us about emerging trends in payment acceptance. Who we have with us today, it's all Elavon all day long today. And we're going to start on the right side. We've got Jamie Walker, the CEO. Eva Paredes, she's Senior Vice President and Head of UK and Ireland. And then, of course, Pari Sawant, he's Chief Product Officer. First of all, welcome.
It's great to be here.
I hope you're having a good time. It's another crowded day on the floor. I'm sure you're having all of your conversations. One of the ones that we've been leading through these discussions, and the point of Elavon being here, is really about what's going on with embedded payments, trying to define further what it really means, and quite frankly, how it's helping globally right now. Jamie, let's start with you on this whole element. You've kind of been seeing this rise over these last few years. What's it look like to you right now?
Yes, Steve, again, it's great to be here. It's great to be back. Great to see you. I think one thing is I always like to point out when we talk about embedded payments is a lot about like what's not changing from a ecosystem perspective. And one thing I always talk about is this a trusted ecosystem that's so critical to maintain as we embed those payments? And that's what's expected in this space. So as we look at embedding more and more of our capabilities, meeting where our customers really want to transact, they still expect to have that ubiquitous sort of experience throughout the payment flow. And that's what we really need to bring as a trusted advisor. So even embedded payments are becoming much more prevalent in how we deliver those payments to our customers and their end customers as well. It's never been more important to embed our capabilities ourselves as well along that journey. So yes, embedded payments is really important, but what's most important is maintaining a trusted ecosystem. And I think that's an important point to make. I'm sure these guys will talk about more of what is changing from an embedded standpoint.
Certainly you lean a little bit on Chief Product Officer for these types of things.
For sure.
I agree with everything what Jamie said. But at the core, payments are moving from being transactional to transformational. And really two areas that the transformation is driving is around experiences and intelligence. See, on the experience front, whether you're a retailer in Dallas or in Dublin, Ireland, and if you have customers, international customers coming to you, you would like to have the local payment methods available for them, for the flexibility for them to pay you. That's number one. So that's where experiences come in. The second thing is on intelligence. The payments data which we have, merchants are looking to use that data to actually bring new customers in, to actually serve them with better offers. If there are issues post-transaction, to use that data to actually offer post-transactional support. And we've actually spent a lot of time on this, and our next generation payments platform, which is Elavon Payments Gateway, was just built with that in mind.
Well, you said the magic word, Dublin. So we're going to go over to you, Eva, and talk about it from that global perspective, especially over on the islands, the UK and Ireland.
Yeah, so I would agree that we've been undergoing a lot of change, and the pace of change is only increasing from the technological, the regulatory, and the customer expectations are really changing. And the one change I wanted to highlight, because we've been hearing so much in this conference this week, is about agentic AI. And I think that is going to give a completely new spin into how customers transact with merchants. And the whole ecosystem is going to have to adapt and change to that. But one of the things that I keep hearing is that for global business, our global customers and global partners, technology or distribution partners, are trying to navigate a very complex ecosystem, trying to expand across geographies. In a cost-effective manner. And one of the ways that we are helping is, as Pari said, is with our Elavon Payment Gateway, with our new technology. I've seen tremendous adoption of this new technology in the UK, and now partners are asking, how do we leverage this technology to expand operations across Europe and North America? And of course, with one single connectivity, being able to accept payments globally, this is really helping our customers and our partners and ourselves to expand our reach. So, and it's not just about the technology, but it's also about how we help as a trusted partner connect the dots to navigate through that complexity.
And, Gunjan, CEO Gunjan Kedia mentioned that the charter is 160 years old plus. To this big traditional bank, yet leading this dialogue about embedded payments, about the technologies, things like that. So what role, as Elevon is taking that leadership piece, what role does U.S. Bank play in all of this? How does it play out against this backdrop, Pari?
See, I think under Gunjan's leadership, we are in the middle of one of the biggest payments transformation we've seen at the bank. And as part of that, we're really investing, as we said, on platform capabilities to bring omni-channel payments together, whether it is online, in person, mobile, or unattended, to give global preference to the widest set of capabilities globally, and focused on data and bringing that data to life for our merchants. The second area we really focused on is, business happens in software, and to bring that software to life for our merchants. And we've got our own capabilities, but we've also partnered. You've seen me talk about our partnership with Microsoft this morning. We've also partnered with Wix, to get omni-channel payments together. And the third thing is, once we do all of it, we can actually bring, one of our core competencies is to bring the best of payments, banking, and money movement to our merchants. And that's where the magic can happen for our merchants.
What do you see?
Well, I think that for us, our role in embedded payments is about empowering business, especially the small and medium businesses, to bring payments wherever their customers are and to facilitate their growth in a sustainable manner. And we do that in different ways. One of them is partnerships. In the UK, the market that I lead, we have over 200 integrations with multiple partners that help us enable hundreds of thousands of merchants across different industries. In this week, for instance, we had the opportunity to talk to some of these partners about how we improve and optimize the business of our joint customer bases. For instance, with WooCommerce, as they are thinking giving an omni-channel experience to the merchant, or another partner, long-standing partnership with Sage on how we bring embedded accounting and facilitate the business of our joint customers. And it's not just about how we partner, but it's bringing, again, our own technology. We've spent a lot of investment and time in improving how we onboard merchants in a secure fashion. In the UK, for instance, 3/4 of our customers are onboarding digitally, and 80% of our customers board and transact in the same day. That means that the busy customer onboards and transacts quicker and makes money. For them, time is really money. So that is some of the roles that we are playing on embedded payments.
Yeah, and how do you see it, Jamie? Because you've kind of shepherded this along over this whole time, and the balance between U.S. Bank and Elevon and all of that.
Well, look, so I'm going to show my age here a little bit, Steve, but it's not U.S. Bank or Elevon. U.S. Bank has been a leader in payments. If you think about U.S. Bank bought Elevon back in 2001. As you think about the bank's journey on the payments, they were leaders back then when many banks were exiting this business, didn't understand the importance of payments back then. And then even now, not just with Elevon, with whether it's money movement capabilities like real-time payments, Pays, FedNow, we're always the first adopters there. And that really gives us an edge as far as how we're adopting new payment schemes. And even into the future, as you think about the announcement we just made with, we're take a leadership position just in money movement, the new money movement capabilities, and how that intersects with digital assets. That's just going to be a key aspect of that. So look, U.S. Bank has been a leader in this space. We're a part of that. Elevon's part of that thing, and Gunjan's just taking that to I would say to a whole other level as far as just making sure that we're making the right investments from a payments perspective.
This is one of the few times that we actually, out of this entire series, having everybody, it's like we've got the team here.
Yeah.
This was, the people that are speaking to each other every day from the same perspective. So as a team, what are you bringing? What are the new developments that are coming to market on the global side of things? How are you seeing that as moving the ball further down the road?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we've invested in our core platforms, bringing that to life. The market's getting verticalized. And we operate in a broad spectrum. We serve the smallest entrepreneurs to the biggest enterprises. And we are focused on these vertical markets to bring the right experiences together. often by building them ourselves or by partnering with them. And third is the magic, as I said, bringing the right experience at the right time for our customers is key. And that's where we play to our strengths. We've got a robust set of value-added services. We can get the entire bank to our merchants, whether it be quick capital loans or, POS lending with Avance, which is our new product which we launched. We have a lot to offer as we bring it all together.
Yeah, you've talked about like how you're doing this over regions as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think for me, what has been quite impressive is how we leverage the scale, the stability, and the resilience of US Bank to our customers and to our partners. One of the examples on the technology side has been how we've embraced and embedded artificial intelligence in everything that we do. And that has helped to enhance our sales and account management tools, our fraud management tools, and ultimately adding more value to our partners and our customers. We've also accelerated the pace of digitization. So I was talking about the merchant onboarding technology, but it's not only the onboarding, it goes across the customer journey. And for instance, the self-serve digital tools that we offer to our customers that offer across multiple factors data. So either on the phone, either on the iPad or their desktop, helps merchants get the right insight and self-serve their businesses. It is also building that interconnectivity across the solutions that we offer. So we talked about gateway, but it's connecting the gateway to our point of sale in the physical environment to have this completely omni-channel experience. Talek, our software, all that is adding experience that are very relevant and helping us differentiate in the markets that I lead, UK and Ireland.
So you're thinking about how you're adjusting to the market and keeping up with innovation. And Jamie, I'd like to get your top-down view on that. How are you making sure how are you driving that? How do you make sure you're driving in the right direction or testing out the right new waters?
Look, I have two thoughts on that. One is obviously the customer really helps drive, and we're listening to the customer, getting that customer feedback. What are they seeing in the marketplace? What are they demanding from a capability standpoint, whether it's quick capital or things that Pari mentioned? Those are all coming from our customers. There's a need there. We're listening to that need, getting that feedback of what's working, what's not working. I'd say the other thing is because we're a global organization, we get to see where trends are happening. Like, Pay by Bank is an example. It's really big in Poland. We happen to have a Poland. So we get some learnings from that, and we can bring it to the UK. We're talking about the US. So because we're a global organization, you kind of ask like, we're all here at 3 together. What do we discuss? We really are trying to be much more global. Liberis is a great example. Liberis started in Europe. It's a partnership here, and we brought it to the US. We saw the need and demand in Europe. We said, we know there's a need here. So it's a combination of listening to our customer, but listening to our regions and bring that global mindset to meeting what we see as the future demands of our customers, what they need.
And Pari, I know that you center it on the idea of clarity of purpose.
Yeah. See, I think it's very important when we talk about this is, getting that clarity of purpose. Our core strength is around payments, money movement, and banking. Okay. And that's our core strength. And we want to stick to it. As we said, we focused on experiences. We want to partner and build those experiences together. But in all of the new innovation, and we can talk about agentic commerce and stable coins, but in all of this, I think the core of it is the foundational elements which we have, the trust which our merchants place on us. So for every transaction which we do, it needs to be reliable. We need to drive scale, and we need to make sure that those transactions are secure. And at the end of it, that is fundamental to payments, period, for us.
Is that when you try to predict what's coming up next? What do you see around the curve, especially globally? What does that look like? And if I can, how much security is built into what's coming next?
I think the entire market is getting verticalized, very purpose driven from a business perspective. And every single, if you're a restaurant owner, you're going to have different needs, whereas a service provider. And so keeping dialed into those needs and making sure that the right products are bought in is very critical. Aside of from it, I'm not going to, I'm not a branding person, so agentic commerce, etc. I feel like the world is just going to get to the world of intelligent commerce, whether it be intelligence for our merchants with better tools to actually manage their business, or intelligence for our consumers to personalize their shopping experience. I think all of that's going to materialize there. And I think it's very important to keep a close eye on digital currencies. I think stablecoins, we've been looking at it for a while. I think stablecoins have just the ability to not only make payments instantaneous, but make payments programmable. The fact that a simple use case, right? If your service provider is coming into your home and you've paid them in stable coins, you can actually program the stable coin to say if it doesn't show up, it's auto refund. So
Jamie,
I think that, yeah.
I'm sorry, Jamie, your thoughts on that also, because as we go through that, with the global look and being able to lean on the kinds of insights that the experts that you have on your team, how does that influence your decision making?
Look, I think though, just to maybe take it back to where I started, all this sort of what was agentic AI, as Pari said, or what's around the corner, it does go back to making sure you keep your core purpose of what's not going to change. Because all these things bring risk into the payments ecosystem. And one thing our customers always lean back on us is the trust they have with us. I mean, we've embedded ourselves for the last 20 to 30 years with our customers in being along the journey, so they always know our intent as we bring out new products, that we really engage with them, ensure that no matter the solution, that we have that trust with them. So I think yes, it's going to change as far as, the ways we meet them, way we meet their customers again, as far as from a payments capability standpoint, but it's really about, again, maintaining that trust with our customers and going all the journeys. We come up with new ways of accelerating commerce, with faster speed.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Maybe just to add to Jamie, I think he kind of nailed it, right? There are two other areas to really focus on is the compliance requirements, which Eva mentioned. That's a continuous place where we have to keep in sync and keep aligned with industry. And second thing is what you mentioned, Steve, is around security. And we have to be proactive or not reactive on that front. So we have to stay a couple of steps ahead to make sure that all transactions are secure.
Yeah, you try to stay two steps ahead.
But one of the ways to stay ahead as well is by having a very diversified partner portfolio. So by having a diversified partner portfolio, that doesn't mean that you're going to have an unlimited number of partnerships. But if you have selected diversified partnerships, you can respect and empower your partners to maintain their identity and innovate with them and co-create with them. So it's another way of really staying relevant and also get a pulse of what is happening in the marketplace.
Just because of what's going on, the environment we're in globally, how does that make your role working over, United States, UK, which is not part of the EU, Ireland, which is a part of the EU. How is that? What kind of stress has that added to how you're managing all of this across those regions?
Well, it is a stress, but it's also a big opportunity, right? Because I think by working very closely with Pari and making sure that we are developing solutions that are global and relevant across geographies, and then leveraging the experience and the local presence that we have with our teams so that we connect the dots for our partners and for our customers. So that's how we are trying to navigate through that complexity.
But Steve, if you think about it, though, that stress is that's what we're good at. As a think about a bank, a very regulated bank, as things get more complex in the UK versus Ireland, we'll thrive in that situation as far as dealing with that complexity, whether it's regulatory or not. That's where we can be a very trusted partner and navigating through that, whether it changes through when Brexit happens, that we executed that flawlessly with our partners to make sure that they didn't see any bumps in the road. So I mean, those sort of moats that are created, we thrive in as being part of a bank and understanding those environments.
And actually, that's what Gunjan brought up when she was on stage and for that keynote, and when we talked about in our segment here, where she said is those times of high stress, high conflict, and all that, it forges you a little bit, and it kind of separates further those who can and those who can't, those who you could trust and those who you can't.
Exactly.
Last question before we close out, and I'd like to hear from each of you on this. What's something that is maybe top of mind for you in this arena that you're keeping an eye on that maybe isn't making headlines already? that isn't making headlines yet? That maybe you could say, yeah, I knew about that issue when it was cool and nobody knew about it, that kind of a thing.
I think for me, it will be the next evolution of just driving intelligence and what we can do and how we can use the payments data and bring it to life for our small business and enterprise merchants. I think that's the area which I think will be insightful over the next few years.
Well, I sometimes bring it to basics. I like to be on the road with my sales team to hear directly what customers are saying. I like to look at customer reviews online, what they're saying about competitors, what are they saying about solutions. In the news, you will hear about the sexy stuff, the innovative stuff, but what the customer thinks and how their experiences that innovation is also very, very important.
Jamie?
I think one thing that people aren't talking about is the impacts of the new geopolitical environment in the world and how is that going to impact payments. We talk about globalization and all that sort of stuff. What about the opposite direction where we need to cater towards more different countries, and if they have different environments that change from a geopolitical perspective? How do we need to be thinking about that? Even here in the U.S., as states have different regulations and things like that, it's always because maybe different payment mechanisms within states. I think it's not talked about a lot, but there's always risk of disruption there and opportunities, quite frankly, in that space. I don't think it's one who's talking about it because everyone wants to think we're going more to global, but there's a reality there that it could go the other way in some cases. And how do we react to that and be successful in that sort of space?
Yeah, it could be that punch in the mouth. And Mike Tyson always said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
That's right.
You got to be ready for those. Jamie Walker, Eva Paredes, and Pari Sawant, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you all for coming back to this last series. Keep looking out for more here at the U.S. Bank Lounge Money 2020.